the real secret behind the word of Living Faith Church, also known as Winners Chapel. According to the Bishop of the Living Faith Church, the secret of men is always in their stories. So the real secret behind the word of Living Faith Church is in this story as told by the bishop in this short video. Let's watch.
You know, my income in this church was 300 naira at the beginning. What was it? That is the only affordable from our level, because we are not permitted by principle to go beyond 30% of our income. Because you might want to wonder, how did you get that? We are not permitted to go beyond 30% of our income as overhead. So that defines what you can employ. Can I hear your amen? No, that someone saying, say God told them. In ministry, we have a lot of that.
Now, did you hear what the bishop said? He said that the Living Faith Church does not spend beyond 30% of our income on overhead. What is overhead? Overhead cost is all the business expenses such as wages, salaries, rent, insurance, heating or lighting, bills, utility, all those expenses that any company, ministry or church runs in carrying out her business is called overhead. Now, Living Faith does not spend as a principle beyond 30% of our income on overhead. This second video shows us clearly, presently, that Living Faith has about 38,000 workers and the current overhead is 20%. According to the bishop, watch the video and hear what he says.
I'm not sure we are doing 20% now. And yet, we're about 38,000 people in our system.
Now you've heard from the bishop. 20% is spent on overhead right now by the Living Faith Church, leaving 80%. Listen, 38,000 staff gets paid every month. Let's say, for instance, that each staff earns 50,000 as an average. If you multiply 50,000 by 38,000 staff, you have 1.9 billion naira. If 20% is, I'm taking it just on salary alone, is 1.9 billion. It means for 1 month, Living Faith gets minimum 9.5 billion. Because 20% of 9.5 billion is 1.9 billion. That means 7.6 billion is left. If you gather 7.6 billion every month in 12 months, calculate how much you have. Only 20% of the income received by the ministry is spent on overhead. Every. That is the secret behind the word. That is the secret behind the word of the Living Faith Church. Little is spent. Very little goes out. Much is kept back. 38,000 people are settled monthly with 20% of the income. So this is the real secret. It's not the income that they receive that's the issue. It's what is retained that's made Living Faith wealthy. I say it again. It is not the income that they receive that has made that ministry wealthy, but what is retained. This is the real secret to the word and the accumulation of fortune by the Living Faith Church and the bishop spending very little on overhead and keeping back so much. spending 20% and keep back 80%. Now, if the ministry pays 10% as tithe to wherever or to whoever, they still have 70%. So, if the ministry can get, for instance, 10 billion monthly, 2 billion is spent, for instance, is spent, that's 5% is spent on overhead, 1 billion on tithe, 7 billion is kept back by the man. In a year, this minimum, in a year, times 7 times 12, you have 84 billion. There's nobody who runs that kind of system that will not be rich. Nobody. The question is this financial principle that the living faith is operating scriptural? That's it. Is it scriptural? Is it biblical? Is there anywhere in the Bible that we are told as believers, as the Church of Christ, to spend 20% or 30% on overhead and then keep the remaining back? Is this financial principle of God? Is that the will of God? Where did the Living Faith Church get this financial principle from? I will be sharing that in the next part. Don't miss it for anything. We are going somewhere. I pray that God will help you and guide you, that you will know the truth and live by it. God bless you in part 2. Peace.